Hey guys, what is up? It is Retro Gamer Gabby, and today we are going to be cleaning my Sega Dreamcast. So, we are going to be cleaning it, however, as you can tell by the different colors that you're seeing, it's going to need a retro brighting done. I don't have materials for that as of right now, but I do have a dark enough room that I can stick this stuff into to do it. I just need to get a bin. Very high concentrate of hydrogen peroxide, some black lights or LED lights. I can't remember which of the two, but it's a very important lighting system, and pretty much complete darkness, and I'll be able to make some videos on that. But that'll be for something in the future. Right now we're gonna focus on cleaning this puppy. So I have had this for the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years. This is a semi-recent purchase. I say semi-recent even though 5 to 6 years ago was not, but I mean, we're talking about around COVID, pre-COVID. I got this, and I have one game to test it with, and I do have all its cables and cords, so we're good there. But this is the last system that Sega ever had or made, and they bowed out in the middle of the lifespan of all these systems because it was competing with the Microsoft Xbox, which was Microsoft's first hat in the ring, Sony's PlayStation 2, and Nintendo's GameCube. All of which weren't out yet. This actually dropped before all of those systems. So it had some time out before everything else, and it still somehow managed to die off. But I will say it has a wonderful library, and I do need to get more than just the one game I have, but I'm pretty happy with the fact that I have a Dreamcast. So we're gonna turn this over, and it has 4 screws, and these are all gonna be Phillips head screws because they're not like Nintendo and using the security bit screws. So this is the underside of the system. It does have, this is for a modem so that you can connect to the internet, because this is one of the first generations that you're connecting to internet. Use Dreamcast HKT series only. Alright, so we're going to take this apart because I'm pretty sure I have to take this out. So let me grab my tripod as well. I'll grab my tripod and we will take this apart. Okay, found another one. I tried a I had a car tool set that was in here, but it was too big, so I had to pull out a separate screwdriver. Are we okay? There we go. I was like, the screw's not coming out because it likes to stick. Okay, so I'll have to remember that this screwdriver set for this system I have to use 2. Alright, so you flip it over and then you get to the guts. And here's the lid of the system. This is where the light is. This is the spring. This is the mechanism. There's a little bit of foam here. Here's the buttons. So I will take this apart to clean it properly, so the lid will be taken apart. And then here's the guts, here's the disc system, here is when you plug it in. This is pretty much all of your AC adapter, all your capacitors and everything. This hasn't been plugged in for a couple years, so I'm fine. But if you just recently plugged this in, you need to be careful with this because it could still be hot. It could still be, when I'm saying that, I mean that it could shock you. So you have to be careful. This is your power switch. Yep. There's a big battery right there. Your little fan. And I'm not going to break this, but this is your controller port area. Here's the light. right here, which we'll go over this in a minute, the inside of this. We're gonna take apart the lid here. Okay, ice cube tray ready. We're gonna take apart the light piece first. I keep this all organized as to what's what. So this will be for the light piece, which is right here. There's your little triangle piece right there. And in the ice cube tray that I'm doing, that right there has its two. And then we'll take the button out. We will have to stretch this. Let me be careful here. We're gonna take this little part off. I can't really mistake this washer, so that should be easy to remember. Okay. And don't do that. There we go. Here's the spring. It's easy to actually get on and off. It's just that it's a weird little shape to it. Keep that there, and then plastic piece for that. Put that over here. So we're down to the buttons, which I'll just remove. There's the open button. And then the power button. Okay, next is the lid, actually. We're gonna put these screws low. Is there a spring for this like the others? Yep. Okay. That up. There's going to be a spring ready. Yep, here it is. Okay, keep that there. Clean that. Take this. Can I take the foam piece out? Oh, it's still glued on this area. I think I left this intact. Well, we'll just leave it intact still. And take off this plastic piece. There we go. And that is the lid disassembled. So you can see the coloring difference between how yellowed it is and how it's supposed to be gray. So yeah, definitely a retro brighting in our future here. Alright, here is the actual view of the guts. I already disassembled the lid, if you already saw that. So this is the controller port area. It's got a massive battery there. There's a couple screws in here for that. This is the power switch. This is your AC adapter, all the capacitors and everything. I have not plugged this in, so I don't really have to worry about it, but if you did plug it in, like I said, just be careful. And there's a couple screws there, so you'll want to unattach that, which we'll get there. You'll want to unscrew that part. Screw here, right at the disc tray. I don't think I'm going to disassemble the disc tray. I think we're alright. And there is, that's the door. That's so that the system knows the door is open or closed. And there's a couple screws here. This is a fan that we'll disassemble, so I'm going to put this back in hands-free mode, and we're going to start taking apart the whole system. Okay, now we're at the part where I'm going to disassemble the system. I'm going to use these bottom parts of the ice cube tray to discern what's where, what goes where. dubs, before I go and clean the stuff, it's supposed to connect to the controller port. That's where this fan is supposed to be. Am I in the right area? Maybe. So it's supposed to connect to the controller port. And I probably didn't reconnect it and just goofed and left that cable out, but I honestly played it a couple times before I had cleaned the system, so I guess it's a good thing I didn't play it yet. So I'm gonna go back to going to clean the stuff, but I just wanted to say that this connects to the controller port. So we are going to attempt to reassemble this the way I remember this from 2 days ago. I kind of wish I had reassembled this sooner, but it do be that way. There's the controller port. Okay. This also needs to be established because this has to go here. So I'm making sure I don't forget some of the main important components here. All right. Those pins have to sit on there right. Yeah, I put the correct screws that needed to be put in. To go in there, buddy. There we go. Yeah, this wouldn't have worked because this wasn't hooked up correctly. I figured out that the rest of these black screws go here, and I put these 2 screws in and connected this. So that's what I've done so far. We're now going to put the disc reader in carefully because it has to connect to the motherboard, and then we screw the rest in like so. So this is the whole system reassembled. Now we're going to bring out the lid. We're going to put the 2 buttons in. Okay. All right. And I think the first 2 I assembled or disassembled was the power light. this and these for this. Okay. You want the mechanism working? And it feels pretty good. All right. Now comes the fun. All right, that's where this one screw comes into play, is for this right here. And now is the bitch of the part. This stuff, the rest of this stuff was no problem. It's this. It's this. I despise this part. I really do. This is where my struggle's going to be at for real. Alright, as long as the door lid is staying, and then it has 2 screws to it. So, okay. So, this is gonna be fun. I can already tell. Oh, I swear on my life, if I just got that first try, I never ever get that lucky. I'm dead serious. There we go. Okay. So we are reassembled. Well, reassembled. Well, the internals are. Now, for the system. Back in. We're flush. Alright, there's the system. All reassembled, put together. Now I'm going to hook this up to the TV and we are going to see how it plays. Sorry about the flickering if you're seeing that. Here's the Dreamcast startup. It's not keeping time or date. 1998. And then hit. This is the game called Seaman. If you've watched the Angry... Well, I do have the controller connected because I was pressing buttons, but it wants to be a pain in the rear. But at least it turns on, it plays, and it doesn't have a memory card. There. So I don't have a memory card for it, but I have the microphone. But this game's narrated by a guy who plays Spock in Star Trek. But this is working perfectly fine. It's the only game I have for the Dreamcast. But yeah, that is how you clean and reassemble and disassemble a Sega Dreamcast. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.